In the heart of Manhattan, surrounded by million-dollar apartments and trendy restaurants, stands a building unlike any other. 550 feet of solid concrete and granite, 29 floors, 0 windows. No windows, not a single one. Every day, thousands of New Yorkers walk past this fortress. They glance up. They keep walking. They never ask what's inside. Maybe they're afraid to know, because what's inside this building is watching them, watching all of us. Every phone call you make, every email you send, every website you visit. There's a good chance it passes through this building. And when it does, it gets copied, stored, analyzed by the most powerful intelligence agency in the world. They call it TITANPOINTE. And for decades, its true purpose was one of America's most closely guarded secrets. Until one man changed everything. This is the story of a building that watches the world. A Cold War fortress turned surveillance machine, hidden in the most visible place on Earth, and what it reveals about the invisible prison we all live in. Because the most dangerous thing about mass surveillance isn't what they see. It's what we stop ourselves from doing once we know they're watching. This is Mind Trap, Part 1, The Mysterious Tower. Tribeca, one of the most expensive neighborhoods in New York City. Home to celebrities, Wall Street executives, and some of the most exclusive real estate on Earth. And right in the middle of it all, at 33 Thomas Street, stands this, 550 feet tall, equivalent to a 50-story building, but compressed into just 29 floors. Each floor has 18-foot ceilings, more than double a normal building. Designed not for people, but for machines, the exterior is covered in flame-treated Swedish granite, reinforced concrete panels, designed to be impenetrable. 6 massive protrusions, house air ducts, stairwells, and elevators, the only visible openings. Large ventilation openings on the 10th and 29th floors, the building's only way to breathe. Urban planner William H. White called it the tallest blank wall in the world. The New York Times called it a rare, brutalist building that makes sense architecturally, that it blends into its surroundings more gracefully than nearby towers. New Yorkers have grown accustomed to it. A familiar landmark, mysterious but unremarkable. But from the very beginning, rumors swirled. Whispers that this building wasn't just a telephone exchange. In 1979, just 5 years after it opened, a satirical film called Winter Kills depicted 33 Thomas Street as the headquarters of a global eavesdropping operation. In the movie, the surveillance apparatus had achieved a kind of self-awareness, like the computer in 2001, A Space Odyssey. Fiction? Or did the filmmakers know something the public didn't? For decades, the building kept its secrets. Until 2016, when the truth finally came out. Part 2, Project X. To understand TITANPOINTE, we need to go back to an era defined by fear. The Cold War, when Americans lived under the shadow of nuclear annihilation. Every day might be the last. Every flash of light could signal the end. In this climate of existential dread, AT&T had a problem. They controlled America's long-distance telephone network, the backbone of national communication. If the Soviets launched a nuclear strike, this infrastructure would be destroyed. America would go silent. They needed a solution, a fortress that could survive the apocalypse. They turned to architect John Carl Warnecke and gave him an impossible assignment. Codename Project X. Warnecke described his mission in his own words, quote, "A skyscraper to be inhabited by machines, designed to house long lines telephone equipment and to protect it and its operating personnel in the event of atomic attack. The building would need to withstand a nuclear blast. It would need to protect against radioactive fallout, and it would need to be completely self-sufficient, a city within a city. 250,000 gallons of fuel for backup generators, its own water supply, enough dehydrated food to feed 1,500 people, all for 2 weeks, the time needed to survive the worst of the fallout. Construction began in 1969. For 5 years, the tower rose, floor by floor, a monument to Cold War paranoia. In 1974, it was complete, the most secure building in New York City. AT&T began installing their 4 ESS switches, the most advanced telephone routing technology in the world. At its peak, 33 Thomas Street processed 175 million calls per day, every single day. The building proved its resilience in 2012, when Hurricane Sandy knocked out power across Lower Manhattan. 33 Thomas Street stayed fully operational, the only building that did. Part 3. Inside the fortress. Very few people have ever been inside 33 Thomas Street. One of them was Mark Klein, an AT&T technician who worked in the building from 1981 to 1990. Klein took photographs during his time there, images that would later become crucial evidence. Primitive computers, disk drives the size of washing machines, massive backup battery systems, rows and rows of them. Klein described working night shifts. Quote, "You'd be alone. You'd walk around in dimly lit rows of equipment. Only switch on fluorescent lights in the area you were working. The ground floor had a large cafeteria, gleaming stainless steel equipment, but it was never opened." In the 1990s, artist Stanley Greenberg was allowed to photograph several floors, one of the only outsiders ever granted access. He captured images of endless hardware racks, a mechanical city. This was never a building for people. It was a building for machines. And the machines were always listening. The 4 ESS switches, massive telephone routing equipment, the nervous system of America's communications. Every international call to or from the United States had a good chance of passing through this building. Millions of conversations, billions of data packets, all flowing through one location. But AT&T wasn't the only one with access to this river of information. Someone else had installed their own equipment in rooms that didn't officially exist. Rooms that AT&T employees were forbidden to enter. Rooms that contained equipment belonging to the most powerful intelligence agency in the world. For decades, no one knew what was happening in those rooms, until one man decided to tell the world. Part 4. The Whistleblower. Mark Klein worked for AT&T for 22 years. A loyal employee, a technical expert. He started in New York in 1981, moved to California in 1991, rose through the ranks. In 2002, he was working at AT&T's facility at 611 Folsom Street in San Francisco. In 2003, something strange happened. NSA operatives showed up. They were assigned a room 641A, and they began installing their own equipment. Klein was assigned to connect circuits to something called a splitter, a device that makes an exact copy of data passing through. The splitter sat just outside room 641A, but all its outputs ran directly inside. Every piece of data passing through those circuits was being copied and sent into that room. Inside room 641A was a device called a Narus STA-6400, designed to intercept and analyze internet traffic at incredible speeds. One expert would later describe it this way: "This isn't a wiretap, it's a country tap." Klein realized this wasn't just happening in San Francisco. The same setup existed in Seattle, San Jose, Los Angeles, San Diego, and almost certainly in the massive facility at 33 Thomas Street in New York. For years, Klein said nothing, but the knowledge ate at him. Then, in December 2005, the New York Times published an explosive story. The NSA was conducting mass surveillance on American citizens without warrants. Klein read the article, and he knew he had the proof. In 2006, he contacted the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a digital rights organization. He brought them over 100 pages of authenticated AT&T documents, schematic diagrams, technical specifications, proof that AT&T had built a massive surveillance infrastructure, and handed the keys to the NSA. The EFF filed 2 lawsuits, one against AT&T, one against the NSA itself. Klein testified before Congress, showed his evidence to senators, demanded accountability. He faced death threats, legal pressure, attempts to discredit him. And then Congress did something remarkable. They passed a law granting retroactive immunity to telecommunications companies that helped with surveillance. In 2009, Klein wrote a book, Wiring Up the Big Brother Machine and Fighting It. Mark Klein died on March 8, 2025, at age 79. A hero who risked everything to tell the truth, but his revelations were just the beginning. Part 5. Titan Point revealed. In 2013, a young NSA contractor named Edward Snowden did what Mark Klein had done, but on a much larger scale. He leaked thousands of classified documents, exposing the full scope of NSA surveillance. In 2016, journalists at The Intercept began analyzing a specific subset of Snowden's documents. They kept finding references to a code name, TITANPOINTE. Secret NSA travel guides from 2011 and 2013 mentioned the location. TITANPOINTE was in New York City. The guides said the site was supervised by something called Lithium. Lithium was the NSA's code name for AT&T, cross-referencing with architectural plans, public records, interviews with former employees. The conclusion was inescapable. 33 Thomas Street was TITANPOINTE. NSA documents described TITANPOINTE as one of Blarney's core sites and called it Blarney's site in NYC. Blarney was one of the NSA's most important surveillance programs. Full take collection, everything. According to the documents, equipment at TITANPOINTE monitored international long-distance phone calls, faxes, internet voice calls, video conferencing, and other internet traffic, a category that includes almost everything. The NSA had a secure room inside the building, their own equipment, tapping directly into AT&T's gateway switch. The gateway switch, the routing point for calls between the United States and the rest of the world. From this single building in Lower Manhattan, the NSA could monitor communications with virtually any country on Earth. The documents revealed strict security protocols. NSA employees visiting TITANPOINTE were warned not to wear NSA badges or insignia. They had to use cover vehicles when traveling to the facility. The building sits just 1 block from the FBI's New York field office, a convenient arrangement. The Intercept also identified satellite surveillance equipment on the roof, linked to an NSA system called Skydrow. The picture was complete. 33 Thomas Street wasn't just a telephone exchange. It was one of the most important surveillance facilities in the United States. Hidden in plain sight, in the middle of one of the most photographed cities on Earth. But the revelations didn't stop there. The documents showed exactly who the NSA was targeting. Part 6, Who's Being Watched? The United Nations, international headquarters of diplomacy. Just a few miles from TITANPOINTE, the NSA successfully cracked the encryption, protecting the UN's internal video conferencing system. They monitored phone calls and emails of UN Security Council diplomats in their offices and in their homes. The International Monetary Fund, the organization that shapes the global economy. The World Bank, the institution that funds development across the planet. A classified FISA court ruling authorized NSA surveillance of 193 countries. 193 countries. That's essentially every nation on Earth. Only 4 countries were exempt: the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the Five Eyes Alliance, English-speaking nations who share intelligence and agreed not to spy on each other. Everyone else was fair game. Germany, one of America's closest allies. The NSA tapped Chancellor Angela Merkel's personal cell phone, starting in 2002, before she even became Chancellor. The surveillance was coordinated from secure rooms atop the US Embassy in Berlin, just a stone's throw from Merkel's office. When she found out, Merkel called President Obama from a landline. She told him, "Friends spying on friends. It's not done." For Germany, the revelation was especially painful. Merkel herself grew up in East Germany, under the constant surveillance of the Stasi. The German parliament launched an investigation. The top CIA official in Germany was expelled. Unprecedented for an ally. France, Japan, Brazil, all close American allies, all targeted. The surveillance covered 6 categories: counter-proliferation, counter-terrorism, diplomatic, economic, military, political. Note those last 2, economic, political. This wasn't just about stopping terrorists. This was about gaining advantages in trade negotiations, understanding political strategies, corporate espionage. As Snowden himself wrote, these programs were never about terrorism. They're about economic spying, social control, and diplomatic manipulation. They're about power. From a windowless tower in Manhattan, the NSA was monitoring allies, enemies, and everyone in between. But the most troubling question remained: what about American citizens? Part 7. The Partnership. TITANPOINTE is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. A decades-long partnership between the NSA and AT&T, codename FAIRVIEW. The partnership began in 1985, just 1 year after the breakup of the Bell telephone monopoly. By 2011, the NSA was spending $188.9 million on FAIRVIEW, more than twice as much as any other surveillance program. Internal NSA documents describe AT&T as highly collaborative, with an extreme willingness to help. One document reminds NSA employees to be polite when visiting AT&T facilities. This is a partnership, not a contractual relationship. The partnership extends far beyond 33 Thomas Street. The intercept identified 8 major AT&T facilities serving as NSA surveillance hubs: Atlanta, a 14-story building at 51 Peachtree Center Avenue, Chicago. 10 South Canal Street, a 28-story tower designed like 33 Thomas to withstand a nuclear blast. Dallas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, Washington, D.C. 8 cities, 8 surveillance hubs, capturing communications from across the country. Mark Klein explained how it works. Quote, "By monitoring the peering circuits at the 8 sites, the spy agency can collect not only AT&T's data, they get all the data that's interchanged between AT&T's network and other companies." And it wasn't just AT&T. The NSA had similar arrangements with Verizon, codename Storm Brew, and at least 7 other telecommunications companies, codename Oakstar. Combined, the NSA has the capacity to reach approximately 75% of all US internet traffic. Full take. That means everything, not just who you called, what you said, every website, every email, every message, copied, stored, searchable. Under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, this collection is legal, as long as the target is foreign. But when you're collecting 75% of internet traffic, American communications get swept up too. They call it incidental collection. Part 8, the invisible prison. In the 18th century, philosopher Jeremy Bentham designed the perfect prison. He called it the Panopticon, a circular building where a single guard could observe all prisoners at once. The guard sits in a central tower, the prisoners in cells arranged around the perimeter. The key insight: the prisoners can never tell if the guard is actually watching them. The windows are designed to hide whether anyone is there, so they behave as if they're always being watched. They become their own jailers. In 1975, philosopher Michel Foucault expanded on this idea. In his book, Discipline and Punish, Foucault argued that modern society works like a panopticon, not just prisons, schools, hospitals, workplaces, all of it. We internalize the gaze. We police ourselves. We conform without anyone forcing us. Today, the panopticon has achieved perfection. CCTV cameras, online tracking, social media monitoring, smartphones that record everything. We even install surveillance devices in our own homes. Amazon Alexa, Google Home, Siri, always listening. George Orwell imagined telescreens in every home. He never imagined we pay for them ourselves and thank the company for selling them to us. Researchers have documented what they call the chilling effect. What happens when people know they're being watched? After the Snowden revelations, traffic to Wikipedia articles about terrorism dropped 30%. Immediately. Google searches for terms that might attract government attention dropped 5%. Studies show people censor themselves on social media, suppressing minority opinions, conforming to perceived norms. Security expert Bruce Schneier puts it bluntly. Quote, "The fact that you won't do things that you will self-censor are the worst effects of pervasive surveillance. Governments like China base surveillance on this principle. If you don't know where the line is and the penalty for crossing it is severe, you will stay far away from it." That hesitation, that moment of self-doubt, that's the system working. You don't need physical walls when people imprison themselves. Part 9, the effectiveness question. Defenders of mass surveillance make one central claim: it keeps us safe. Politicians cited more than 50 terror attacks supposedly thwarted. But when journalists at ProPublica investigated, they found, quote, no evidence that the oft-cited figure is accurate. In 2013, President Obama's own review group examined terrorism cases from 2001 onwards. Their conclusion, bulk phone record collection was, quote, not essential to preventing attacks. Federal Judge Richard Leon went further. He cited the, quote, utter lack of evidence that a terrorist attack has ever been prevented because searching the NSA database was faster than other investigative tactics. What actually prevents terrorism? Traditional methods. Over 50% of cases were initiated by community or family tips. Informants, suspicious activity reports, good old-fashioned police work. NSA bulk surveillance, 1.3% contribution to terrorism prevention. Billions of dollars, millions of people surveilled, constitutional rights violated for 1.3%. Yet the programs continue. The building still operates. The surveillance never stops. Which raises a question. If mass surveillance doesn't prevent terrorism effectively, what is it really for? Power, control, the ability to know everything about everyone, to predict behavior, to shape it. Professor Shoshana Zuboff calls it surveillance capitalism. Not just watching, predicting, not just predicting, controlling. Quote, the goal is no longer to automate information flows about us. The goal now is to automate us. Part 10, TITANPOINTE today. The building still stands, unchanged, unmoved, still processing. Section 702 of FISA is set to expire in April 2026. But few expect the surveillance to actually stop. In 2025, a federal court ruled that warrantless Section 702 searches violate the Fourth Amendment, the first ruling of its kind, but the government is appealing. Exceptions are being carved out. The surveillance continues. AT&T has announced plans to develop the plaza next to 33 Thomas Street. Residential towers, shops, a smaller public space, but the tower itself? No changes planned. Business as usual. And remember, 33. Thomas Street is just one of 8 known facilities. There are almost certainly more. The technology grows more sophisticated every year. The capacity to monitor expands, and the windowless tower in Manhattan keeps watching, as it has for 50 years. Conclusion: the mind trap. There's something almost poetic about 33 Thomas Street. It was built to save us, to preserve communication in the aftermath of nuclear war. Instead, it became an instrument of surveillance, watching the very citizens it was meant to protect. The fortress meant to defend democracy became a threat to it, but the real trap isn't the surveillance itself. It's what it does to our minds. The hesitation before you post, the message you delete before sending, the search you don't make, the call you don't place, the thoughts you don't think. Because you know, somewhere, someone might be watching. Democracy requires free thought, free expression, the ability to dissent, to question, to organize. Mass surveillance erodes all of this, not through force, through fear, through self-imposed silence. 33. Thomas Street is just a building, but it's also a symbol of a system designed to know everything about us, while we know almost nothing about them. That's not security, that's not democracy, that's control. The next time you walk past a windowless building, remember, it might be watching you. If this video opened your eyes, share it. Subscribe, and remember, the most effective prisons have no walls, just the knowledge that someone, somewhere, is always watching. Next time on Mind Trap, what happens when ordinary people are given absolute power over others? The Stanford prison experiment and the darkness it unleashed. How quickly civilization crumbles. How easily good people do terrible things. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. This has been Mind Trap, the psychology they don't teach you.